let's talk a little bit about what the proposal is here, kind of the starting point, if you will.
Well, what you're seeing is the first hearing here to push out at least $100 million to small businesses in Mississippi that didn't get into the PPP. That's basically the guts of it. And you heard a lot of good comments, I thought, today on questions and whatnot that were brought up, particularly in regards to speed, availability, and quick delivery of services to individuals that need them. Some good questions. I think many of those were covered. One of the key parts here, of course, is that this is not to make up for your losses, of a business. It's to cover expenses, and those are requirements put on us by the Department of Treasury, not us. So we're using these federal funds under their guidelines to push it out. So I think that's important, and I think we'll see some clarification of some of the issues that the senators raised today. Very good questions today, and I think you'll see those start to be addressed here.
Since it can't be used for the lost profits,
Right.
how, if at all, could it help those who have been forced to close, like a salon or a gym, or could it be?
It is, but it is because you had expenses, like for your rent is covered in your salaries, and like it specifically covers hairdressers and barbers, where they rent a chair, for example, and they have to pay that rent's covered. The salary that they didn't get while they were, closed by the government, that's covered. So basically, you're covering their expenses, which is equivalent to covering the losses, really, when you get down to it. So we'll be covering some of the expenses. Every expense that's allowed by the Treasury Department is going to be covered under this.
So you're starting with $100 million in the
That's
pot,
correct.
and it could grow or change.
It could grow, and that they were pretty specific. The senators were. The goal here is to get this money out right now where our businesses are suffering. And if we get to June and we find out we're under 25, we need 25 more million, well, that's what the legislature will address it at that time. First goal is to get 100 million out on the streets to people who didn't qualify for the federal programs, didn't get in time, or cut out short, whatever reason. We're trying to help Mississippi small business, less than 50 employees that didn't get money yet.
Is there any indication, I know this isn't filed legislation yet, do we know if it's going to be a standalone bill, or will this be an amendment to?
It will not. It'll be an amendment to the bill that was passed by the legislature, the one that we have been discussing, that allocated out the $1.15 billion to purvey the legislature.